Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Bold Explorer Live with your host, me, Richard Vobes, live from a terraced house in jolly old Worthing. The two up and two down of absurdity, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's me. Getting myself all sconced up here in the lovely studio. The studio! That's right. It's a Friday, the 11th of May 2018, and it's 8 o'clock here, British summer time. I don't know what time it is wherever you are, because of course I'm live. You are also live, but you might be watching the repeat. If you are, well, it's very nice to have you, of course. But if you are watching live with me on the Facebook, on the Bold Explorer page, then I welcome you, and it's lovely to see you. And it's always lovely to see you. Let's see if you're actually watching, shall we? I'll just have to switch over to my Facebook thing to make sure that I can, of course, see the comments, because we've had times when the comments don't always show up, so I don't always know you're there. Dave Baker is there, which is rather good, in fact. Nikki, Jess, Pam, we've got Mark English, we've got Cynthia, we've got Anne, we've got Richard, we've got Terence. Nice to see you again, Terence. We've got Jennifer. We have Steve, we have Neil, we have Kevin, we have Paul, we have loads of you. We have the same cast as ever. It's like the cast of the Vobes Theatre Production Company, all coming out in their Sir Galahad costumes. Some of you wearing very, very tight little skimpy numbers, which is very nice. Some of you in ballerina dresses, which is a little bit worrying, seeing as you've got very large, hairy legs. They don't always suit you, but I don't want to put you off. The tutus, however, should be round your waist and not under your chin. Anyway, don't let that put you off. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you for coming in your star-spangled banners and waving your flags, because it is the end of the week, and that's rather good. We've got some good news in today's show, and we've got some bad news in today's show, but we'll get onto that very shortly. So there we are. Unfortunately, some of the bad news is that I am on my own tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It is just me. There is no lovely Julia, there is no lovely guest whatsoever. It is just I here broadcasting live, preambling, allowing people to arrive, because I know people have had trouble getting to the feed. So here we go, another exciting show, another hour of fruitless nonsense that will be spurting from Mr. Flappy Mouth, as the lovely Julia calls me, which is a bit of a shame. I'm not quite sure I really live up to that, but there we are. One has to keep talking, because in this game, dead air is something that's not allowed. If it suddenly goes quiet, it usually means that the internet is disconnected, and that does happen from time to time, and I freeze like that, which is not good for anybody, but there we are. Anyway, it's lovely to see you, and you're all joining in, which is rather nice. I'm just keeping a special eye out in case certain people turn up that need special attention, because if I see a new name, ladies and gentlemen, I can't keep an eye on the comments all the time, you'll appreciate, but if I do see a new name, it is always nice to welcome them to the fold. And when I talk about the fold, of course I'm talking about the people who happen to come not only here on the live show, but we welcome them into the group. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a group, and it's on a Friday at this sort of time, before everybody's going out down to the nightclubs to get, a bit sozzled and worse for wear on the Saturday. We give everybody a lovely group hug. So if you could just extend your arms wherever you happen to be. You may be driving, you may be travelling on a bus as you watch this, you may be flying an aircraft for all I know on the live show, you may be the pilot of an intergalactic spacecraft going across from one galaxy to another galaxy, and you may be transporting killer octopi from the planet Snoogalumpa. Who knows what you're doing? But whatever you are doing, just reach out to your fellow neighbour now and give them a Friday hug. Give them a loving hug like that. Please, no kisses, no tongues, none of that business, because you never know what terrible diseases you might get. But a gentle hug is perfectly fine. Robert Newman has arrived. Hello, Robert Newman. It's very nice to see you there. Jennifer's giving everybody a warm hug, and her hug is so big, it's going right across the pond, which is marvellous, marvellous. Unfortunately, of course, for anybody who happens to be travelling across the Atlantic in a ship at the moment, these big, huge arms have just cast aside those ships, and they're now wobbling like a weeble. Weebles wobble, but luckily they don't fall down, which is rather good. So hugs to all. It is Friday, and hopefully everybody's got the weekend off, apart from, of course, those people working in the supermarkets and, operating machinery at night and doing all those sort of things. Things that, people who keep the lights on, we want them to be working very hard. What else? We want people to be flying the appropriate airplanes at the time, so they're going to be working. We want the train people to be working, of course. We want people to be baking bread, and some of the factory people making Marmite, if you like Marmite. We want everyone to keep work. Actually, we don't want people to take any time off whatsoever, because if people take time off, then the whole world will implode, and we can't have that, can we? No, so actually, forget that it's Friday and that you're all having a time off. Actually, get back to work, will you? Stop mucking about watching this show. Go and get back to work, because we need all those things done. But if you do have the time off, then relax. Anyway, so let's crack on. I've had a lovely day, ladies and gentlemen. I've had a wonderful day out, a lovely day out, because I do occasionally get day release from this job, but I was actually working for the Bald Explorer, and I went to meet a very lovely lady called Cynthia Julian. Now, Cynthia Julian got in touch with me, and she said, "Here, Richard," because she speaks like that. She said, "Here, Richard," and I said, "Yes." She said, "Here, Richard," and I said, Yes, we've established I've got ears. Here, Richard." Yes, stop screeching at me, woman." She said, Why don't you come to Thacum?" I said, "Where?" "Thacum." "Thacum?" "Yes, come to Thacum." I said, "What's at Thacum?" "Oh, I don't know, about 600 new builds." 600 new builds? "Oh, they're covering the place up in new builds. Something." I think she stepped out of a Monty Python film. I do apologise if you're watching, Cynthia. You don't really talk like that. You're a very lovely lady, actually. She is a very lovely lady because she bought me lunch. What could possibly better than that? Lovely lunch at this delightful pub whose name now escapes me. Tom Julian has arrived. Hello, Tom. I met Tom. It's Tom's birthday, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you could all wish Tom a very happy birthday, for he is, well, it's debatable, really. He's either 22 or 23, depending on who's giving him a card. If it's his father thinks he was born a year earlier and thinks he's older, but Tom knows best, because Tom can look in the magic mirror and say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, just how old am I tall? You are very, very young. You're only 22, and not 23. So there we are. Tom knows. So happy birthday to Tom. He said, "Hello, chap. Nice to meet you." He's a very nice chap. I did say to him, don't bother to join the show tonight because it's your birthday. You should be doing some exciting things on your birthday. But he said, no. The main event is tomorrow. Yes, they're gate crashing the Bald Explorer party. As you know, I often have an after show party, and I party the weekend, as you can imagine. The geisha girls are here, the can girls, a lot of can girls here, usually when I'm having soup, because they really struggle to get those cans of soup open. Anyway, so they'll be there. And then the can't girls, they're the ones that always say, "Oh no, I can't come tonight, sorry, I'm so busy. Now I'm busy doing my hair, doing my nails, doing anything but coming around to your house." Yes, thanks very much. So obviously he's going to gate crash my place, and actually that's quite good, because I do need a new gate. So if you could smash that gate up, then I can get a nice new gate, modernise the place, and it would be absolutely lovely. So there we go. So everyone's saying happy birthday to Tom. You've never even met him, but he is Cynthia's son, one of many, I understand. I believe Cynthia has about 325 different sons. She's a prolific in that department. I won't go into that. She's anyway, she's a very lovely lady. So I went over there today, ladies and gentlemen. I've got some pictures as well. I've got some pictures of the antics that I've been getting up to, and I know you want to see the pictures and the photos of where I've been going up to. So first of all, we went to the church. Now, as you know, I'm not terribly religious, but I do like a nice church. We all like to go and see a nice church, don't we? Oh, lovely church. Look at that lovely spire. Oh, a lovely tower over there. Oh, with the clear-story windows, and a Norman arch, a Saxon this, and a Bibli that, and a Neolithic the other, and a this. Well, anyway, have a look at the church. Here it is. It's a lovely church. Look at that. Oh, that's a nice, I think that's Flint and local stone, and it's got a parapet. It's got Horsham stone on the roof, and look at those lancet windows, those English lancet windows on the what is that? The South Transit or whatever it is, or some such thing. My son's just come in. I've heard him belching, so that's all quite nice. You all right, Bill? All good, thank you. I heard you belching in the background. Oh, sorry. No, that's all right. Doing a live show, you know. Yeah, don't do any more belching. That's very kind of you. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Belching in the background. You probably didn't hear it, but I've got sensitive ears, you see. I've only got one eye, but sensitive ears. So all good fun. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's crack on with the photos, because there's a number of them I need to get through. Here's the lovely tower, ladies and gentlemen. I had the privilege to clamber up what I think is a Newell staircase. That's a staircase that goes around and around and around a central column. You know, one of those very narrow, creepy stair. When I say creepy, I mean it's enclosed. You know, if you've got claustrophobia. So I went up to the top of one of those. I'm going to show you some video in a minute. Yeah, it's going to show you some video as well. So you know, you don't get out of it very easily. From the top of the tower, you look down, and you see some beautiful cottages in Thacombe. Thacombe, I should say, is in West Sussex, a beautiful village there. Look at that. That used to be a series of cottages, but I believe that now is just one palatial house. They've all been knocked through. It's amazing. So that's rather nice, isn't it? I met up with this chap whose name is Roger Watts. He is the bell ringer. He's not Quasimodo, because this isn't in France, obviously not Notre Dame. This is he is there now. Believe it or not, he's actually standing on the parapet, fearless. Someone's lopped his arms off, which is a bit of a worry because he's a bell ringer, so I don't know how he does the bells. But anyway, his arms have been lopped off in that particular photo. Here's another shot from the top of the I got a bit of a stumble there. The parapet on the top of the tower, and the bit next to it is called a dog kennel. I think he called it a dog, or a dog. It's a triangle. It looks like a dog kennel. Anyway, he called it a kennel. Here's some close up of some Horsham stone for you, with a bit of lichen or lichen, depending on which is the way you lichen to explain it. Inside, there are the bells, the hell's bells and buckets of blood. And these in this little sort of set here, I think there's 6 bells. Here's a picture of a bell. We went right up and inspected the bells. Fred was ringing the bells. This was at 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, he's a lovely man, but if you were trying to sleep in, you had no chance, not with this, because he rang the, I can't remember what it was, a 100-tonner or something. So that was all very nice. Now, I have a video, ladies and gentlemen, which I'm going to show you, because we went up there and we had a quick view. It's a sneak preview from the long video, which will be coming in a couple of weeks' time, because there's a bit of a backlog with the videos coming. But have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I think you'll be greatly impressed as I clamber up. Now, bear in mind, as I'm doing this, I've got a camera in this hand, a microphone in this hand, and I'm climbing up this staircase. And he's saying, hold on to the rope so you don't fall a million miles to your death, where your head will explode in a great load of pus. And I'm going, yeah, well, I'll do the best I can. So anyway, have a look at this.
This door here is very, very old, as you can see. And it went missing.
Oh, really?
And was missing for many years, and was found, I don't know which farm in the village, but as a gateway on a pig pen.
Oh, blimey.
Retrieved.
Somebody had taken it off, and somebody else had presumably whipped it. I've got a use for that.
So it's got a bit of a history.
I can do the bell.
Now, there is a rope round here for you too.
Right.
I'll just warn you, there's 58.
58 steps?
Yes.
Okay. Not quite sure how I'm going to do this with both hands.
Well, you probably won't want to film up these steps, will you?
Well, I'll just carry on and see what happens. It does have quite a low light ability.
This tower here, this stairway, is very popular with butterflies for overwintering.
Oh, is it?
Yes, they hibernate in here a lot. But it's dry and cool.
Oh, yeah. Well. Well, I've managed to get up the ladder. And now I've just got to come out of this little cubby hole onto the belfry. My hands and knees.
Oh yes, it's all hands and knees. If we go around that way.
Okay,
Now,
just bear with
you'll
me.
show your camera around there in the distance. Like, generally, round there to the left, just over the trees, looking towards the Guildford direction.
Oh, okay. So we're on the parapet now. Wow, this is pretty amazing. This is your lightning rod I've got across,
Yes.
presumably.
Yes.
Which is just here, so the viewers can see it. I've just got to make a funny... Whoop. We've got the wind.
Okay.
Yep, I'm across there. This is terrific views, though.
Now, if you go to your left, you've got Horsham, Crawley, and out there, and you might just be able to see the monastery at Calfold there.
Oh, wow.
The steeple there, which
Oh,
is
yes.
202 feet high, half the height of Salisbury Cathedral.
Goodness. So just a small, tiny little clip, ladies and gentlemen, just a tiny little snippet there of climbing up. We did go and inspect the bells. We had a look at the bells, and Roger was telling me all about the bells, and it was very exciting. And then later on, he got the rope down there, and he was explaining how they hang upside down. Well, they hang downwards like this. And then he has to get them to go up like that before you can start ringing the bells. And in order to do that, to get it into that position, you can't just pull the rope and they go like that, because they're too big, you see. And so you have to rock them like this. You pull the rope and you gently get it going, and you keep going like that. And it took about a minute or so before he could get the bell to swing right the way round, plop. And then he got it into this position, and then he could do the whole bell ringing pucker, and they would, you know, ring the bell. And of course it was going bong, bong, bong like this. And he's ringing it from down the stairs, and, you know, we're all going, oh, what a horrendous noise that is. And I ran out into the street making sure, because it was 9 o'clock in the morning, I was slightly concerned, because it kept going bong, 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 that people would be dashing out of their houses, looking up to the skies, imagining that, you know, enemy paratroopers were coming down, because, you know, back in the wartime, when the bells suddenly started to ring, people were going, oh my God, it's a sign, the devil incarnate is coming, oh no, what are we going to do? But actually, nobody could bat an eyelid. I think everybody had got used to Roger going in there and going, bong, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bong, bing, 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 bong. Something like that, anyway. So he was a very, very talented man. And I should say, it wasn't really clear. The parapet was right down here, really low. So when you're standing up there, it's about 60 odd feet up. It's not like one of the great, huge towers, but 60 feet is plenty high when you're up there. And the parapet is up to your knees, and you're standing there going, oh my God. And the gap between the edge of the spire, the kennel thing that he called it, and the parapet, the bit between, the bit that you walk around, all around the side, that bit is like this narrow, and you're going, oh my God, I don't want to be here, I'd like to be on the ground, but I don't want to fall down there. And you're going, yeah, I'll do some filming, but just wait a minute, I need to catch my breath because I'm a bit nervous of the height. Anyway, I managed to sort of pull it off and give the impression that I was fine till I dropped the camera. No, I didn't really drop the camera. I was perfectly fine. But in order to do it, you go up the spiral staircase. Yeah. You get to the belfry where all the bells are, as I showed you. And then, to get up onto the thing, you've got to go a bit more. But there's no more nice spiral staircase in an enclosed newel staircase. Oh, no. There's a ladder. There's this rickety old ladder that's sort of bouncing about on the wall. And I'm climbing a ladder with a camera and a microphone. And I've got them both in one hand, and I'm holding onto this. And it goes up about another 20 feet, and you're going, oh, cool. And he's 78, I think he is, Roger. And he's sprightly dashes up this thing, boom, up to this tiny little trap door that you saw, and you get out onto the parapet, and I'm climbing like nervously up like this, going, don't look down, for God's sake, don't look down, because if you fell, you'd fallen on these big bells, you see, and you'd make a terrible noise. And I managed to get... Anyway, so we did all that. Then we went and rang the bell, and it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it, ladies and gentlemen, and you will see that enjoyment when I bring... when the video's all put together, so that would be rather nice. Bong, 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 says Dave Baker. John Berger's joined. Maggie Walters says, got to love a bit of bonging. We all like to have a bit of bonging, don't we? If we can get a bit of bonging on the side, then that's even nicer. Kevin Hall says, Richard, whatever you have taken, I could have done with a bucketful today. Ah, poor old Kevin. Are you feeling a bit down in the dumps today? I'll send my mental mind capacity. I will send over the vibes from the Vobes. There we go. Can you feel it now? Are you getting it? Sue, hello Sue. It's nice to see you. Sue Blount. That's a lovely name, isn't it? Blount. Is that how you pronounce it? Blount. Can you count? Sue Blount? Does it rhyme with Blount? Anyway, she says, I climbed onto the top of St. Paul's Cathedral on Saturday. The views weren't quite so green. No, but you went on to St. Paul's. There's always somebody who wants to be one up on the Vobes, doesn't it? There's a little tiny rural church. And then you're up there on Christopher Wren's magical creation. Oh, my, imagine that. But as you say, not so green. And you've got, presumably you can see the London Eye and the gherkin and the, what else have they got up there? I think they've got the celery stick, haven't they? And they've got the eggplant and a number of other funny vegetable things that are actually building, something like that. Anyway, so very interesting. I bet that was interesting, though. Have you ever seen, I can't remember the film, there's a film where there's guys on St. Christopher Wren's thing on the dome during the war, and the incendiary bombs are coming down and they're cascading off the big dome, and the priest is rushing around trying to pick up these during the Blitz, and he's picking up the incendiary sticks and they're chucking them into buckets of water. I can't remember which particular film it was, but it was very interesting. Maggie Ward says, gotta love... Oh, so I read that. Mark Selwood says, you're very brave, Richard. I couldn't do that. Well, the thing is, when you're producing stuff, you know, and you've got your producer's head on, it's exactly that thing that you said. You've got to get the pictures, you've got to do the stuff, and actually you kind of just switch yourself off to the reality of the situation. I don't know how that works, because if I was going up there just as a lay person going up there, I would be more noticeable of the environment, I think, whereas I'm going up there thinking, oh, I've got to get this video, especially if the camera's on, I've got to perform a bit. When you perform, you sort of are actually diverting your attention from the fact that you are, you know, in a precarious situation. Sue Blount says, yes, it was. It was lovely. I'm assuming it's because I can't remember now what I said. I'll be pooping my pants at that height, says Maggie. There's an image for you, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, thank you very much for that. After we did that, we had a cup of coffee in Cynthia's garden, because Cynthia didn't come up onto the parapet. She came into the belfry. She was perfectly fine, but she wasn't prepared to sort of fall off like the other two nutters. But we went... This was really interesting. We went into a garden because her house is just a stone's throw from the church. Beautiful timber-framed house, ladies and gentlemen. And I met her hubby. I assume he's her hubby. Her other half, her partner, anyway, called Mick. And Mick came rushing out with some coffee and some lovely jam buns. And he said, here, mate, have some of these jam buns. Lovely bloke he was, very nice. But he's a bit of a strange man, and I liked strange man because he collects odd things. He told me he used to be a trawler. You know these trawlers that go out in the sea trawling for fish and things, and they would often pull up things from the seabed. Well, he, in his garden, in their garden, he's got these two life-size, well, they're not so much life-size, they are the actual things, propellers. One is the propeller from a hurricane, which may have come down during the Battle of Britain, who knows. It's the propeller of a hurricane. It's two of the prongs and part of the, I don't know what you would call it, the bit that they attach to that's on the engine that goes around like this, that makes the propeller go round. Two of those. The one of them is missing, and he's got it mounted in his garden. Fantastic, dredged up from the sea from the 1940s, amazing. And then he's got another one on a big pole, and it looks a bit like one of these wind farms actually in his back garden. If I'm honest, he's got this propeller, but it's from an American bomber. He did tell me it was either a B-52 or a B-71 or a B. It was B something or other. It was Be Respectful, because there were 4 of them on a bomber. And this bomber, he said, I can tell that most likely when these came down during the war, they didn't crash in a horrible, horrific way, because the prongs on the propeller would have been bent far, far worse. So they clearly came down, skimmed the water. That was probably, the force of that was enough to give them a little bit of a dent, but they weren't sort of smashed to smithereens. So he said most likely the crew got out, assuming, of course, they hadn't bailed out or had been shot to bits or in the water and drowned. Who knows? But up they came. It was very poignant, really. And he also had this enormous anchor. And he called it a deck anchor. He said most of the old galleons and the old fighting ships from, I don't know, the time of the Spanish, not Inquisition, what am I talking about? The Spanish invasion, Drake and all of that, or maybe a bit later. He didn't give me a date of it. He said most of these, they had a spare. So they'd have one that was all ready to drop anchor, weigh anchor. Yeah, 15 stone, £10, mate. I think it was a few more tonnage than that, actually. No, weigh anchor is when you lift it up and you go off, isn't it? And drop anchor is when you chuck it down. Anyway, so they have a spare one, and he said it was all wrapped up in hessian, because they could still see bits of the hessian when they rescued it from, what do you call it when it's dragged? I just called it, and they're trawling. And it's anyway, they got it up out the seabed, massive, great big thing, and he's got it propped up outside his house. And fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And he said, a lot of people think it's junk, and I said it's not junk. It's not junk at all. It's amazing because, you read these stories about like the Second World War and aeroplanes crashing, and you read about these heroic deeds. And of course, we're in such a removed time. It's only 78 years, away from the Battle of Britain. And you read about these heroic stories, and most everybody who took part now is long gone. And it's almost a myth. Yes, we've got moving picture or something. And I said, but this is something that connects. You could go up and put your hand onto the steel of the propeller, and somebody flew that plane, a pilot, a young man in his 19 or 20 or 21, something like that. A boy flew that plane, and for whatever reason, it was either shot down or it had a mechanical error, or whatever reason, he had to come and crash land. And he either survived or he died, and we hope that he survived, and he may well have survived and got back and flew again, and then may have been shot down. A lot of them didn't survive the whole war, and maybe he survived the whole war. We don't know who he was, but it happened, and that's what I find really, really. When you get something that is tangible. It's not just the story or a diary. You pick up a diary with their handwriting on it. It just proves it really happened. It's not just a photograph. A photograph is good, but having that object, the real object. So I find, they're not junk at all. It's amazing. And the Battle of Britain, I think, is. I'm looking forward to 2020 when it'll be 80 years since the Battle of Britain. I think it's going to be a very important year for England and Britain, 2020. I think it's going to be because we will remember, and we could do with remembering this now during Brexit, and I don't want to get political or anything like that because this is a fun show, but we had, I'm going to use a word now that people forget it has other different meanings. We had spunk back then, and we defended our island, and we had ingenuity, and we managed to defend our island from a terrible foe. And it does seem in this day and age that we've got incredibly soft and that we feel like we need all these other people to help us survive, and yet we are plucky islanders, and we can do these things, and we should remember that. We should remember, and we should have some of that Battle of Britain spirit in us. So we really should. And not just think, oh, well, we need the big everybody, we get into globalization and corporation, this and all that. We, go for the little individual, the little country that can conquer the world. Yeah, we really should. Anyway, so those propellers, I found them fascinating. Anyway, after that, I'll leave that with you. A little bit of seriousness there. I'll leave that with you to think about. After that, we had a walk around the village, made another video, and then, ladies and gentlemen, and this might interest Jennifer because she is over in America, and anybody who's an American, and particularly those in Pennsylvania, might find this quite interesting. John Berger, for example, might find this particularly curious because William Penn, who founded Pennsylvania, he came from Britain. He came from England. He had a little place in Warminghurst, tiny little place. Well, we went to a place called Coolham, and he was a Quaker, ladies and gentlemen. He was a Quaker. And we went to the Blue Idol, which is the original Quaker house that he founded and set up, William Penn, in Britain, in West Sussex. Here it is. Tiny, well, it's it's a timber frame building. And we went in there, we made another video. There was nobody there. Apart from one lady, the curator, as it were, who was a volunteer, a voluntary lady. We went in there and we took some pictures, and so that's one part of it. I don't know that's. I don't actually. Oh no, that's the wrong picture. Hang on. No, that's the right picture that you're looking at now. We went inside into the Society of Friends meeting room. There we go. Look, this is all decked out how it would have been when they arrived, and they would have sat down in this Quaker house. It's still used for Quaker meetings. It's very lovely, very lovely. It's very serene, very peaceful place with these beautiful gardens. And in the garden was a barn, an old barn, which was even older than the house. It used to be a farmhouse before it was turned into the Blue Idol Quaker meeting place. And so we went into this barn, and they've got a bit of a museum going on in there to tell you about the story of Puritans, not Puritans, when I'm talking about Quakers. And have a look at this. This was a newspaper from 1857 that had been stuck to the back of a cupboard door. It was still there. The Sussex Express, look at that, almanac for 1857. And you could actually see, here's a bit of closer detail, the newspaper was still there from that time. Absolutely amazing. Beautiful interior. There we go, the inside of that real old barn. Beautiful timber frame. It's got a new floor in, and a few bits and pieces in the roof to protect it and stuff. But they've got the whole story of William Penn and everything. And then up in the roof, you can see some of the old genuine wattle and daub. You see the daub infill between the rafters there and the beams, and then you can just about make out the lattice work of the wattle. And then this is a cast of William Penn, I believe. Here's a bit closer up of the wattle and daub, as you can see, the lattice work going on in there. And the Blue Idol Friends, bit of just showing you how they laid it all out. So if you've got the time to go and read, you could have a look at that. So it's absolutely amazing and fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed myself this morning, and thanks to Cynthia Julian, who then took me out to the pub. We had I think it was the White Horse. I'm not quite sure. Was it the White Horse, the pub up the road? Maybe if Tom is still there, maybe you could tell me, or somebody. It was something like that. And we had a beautiful asparagus and something soup. I can't remember what the something was, but it was delicious anyway. It was very nice, and I had a cup of coffee with it, so that was good. So there you go. Self-belief and self-determination, says Ashley White. Absolutely. Self-belief and self-determination. Brilliant. So that was what I got up to this morning, and it was really, really interesting and fantastic. So look out for those. The videos will be coming a bit later on. Now then, time for a little bit of Vobing reporting. Now, I've got a bit of a quandary with the Vobing reporting. It's going very, very well. And so I need to sort of think how to do this, because as I mentioned the other day, people are putting the Vobing reports, which is perfectly fine, into the group. But it does mean that people have seen the videos, so there's almost no point me then playing them in the show. So I thought maybe if people want to, they could, if they want to send me either a snippet from their show, their videos, and I can play a snippet in, you know, of a minute or two, rather than the whole thing, because then that, you know, it sort of defeats the whole object of me doing a live show. Or they can do a, you know, send it to me first, and we play it in the live, and then they upload it to the group. What do you think? Do you think that's worth? Because if you've already gone in the group and you've seen it, and by the time I get to it and play it in, it gets a little bit dull and boring. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, let's go to one of these videos that we've got. It's about 3.5 minutes. It means I get a chance to go make a cup of tea. Yeah, you know. So this is Nigel Sadler, and he was going to make a video about the Battle of Tunbridge, when he discovered that there was a reenactment thing going on at the same time. So have a look at this.
Hello, I'm Nigel Sadler, Vobing reporter, and today I'm at Tunbridge, in the middle of the English Civil War. This May Day Bank Holiday weekend has the Civil War Reenactment Society visiting Tunbridge Castle on a 2-day celebration. Tunbridge in West Kent guards the River Medway on the crossing of the Hastings to London and Lewis to London Road, the modern A21 and A26. The Battle of Tunbridge. This is an English Civil War reenactment based on actual events that took place in 1643. Civil War Kent is often assumed to be solidly behind the Parliament in its struggle against King Charles I, but as in most areas, there were local sympathisers for both sides. Many Kentish royalists tended to keep their heads down and their opinions to themselves. The leading parliamentarian supporter in Tunbridge was a Mr. Thomas Weller, whose diary provides a commentary on what happened in July 1643, when hostility between the two sides erupted into violence. Weller lived in Tunbridge and he owned Tunbridge Castle. He was instructed by Parliament to go to Sevenoaks to investigate reports of disturbances there. This turned out to be more than a few disgruntled locals, as up to 4,000 men had turned out to rebel against Parliament and march on Tunbridge, as well as settling a few local scores. The rebels, as they were addressed by the loyal parliamentarians, ran amok for several days in Tunbridge until the 24th of July, when 2,000 men of the London trained bands, led by Colonel Richard Brown, together with local parliamentarian supporters, managed to defeat the Royalists at the Battle of Hildon Bridge, with final remnants surrendering at Yalding. Of course, Tunbridge is a very different place now. So for this reenactment, action centres on the castle. Well, that was English Civil War Tunbridge style. Tremendous smell of gunpowder wafting in the breeze on this beautiful spring sunny afternoon in early May 2018.
Brilliant stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliant. Who doesn't like a nice bit of reenactment? That's what I say. love a bit of reenactment. All those cannons going off and the smoke and the flames and all that sort of business. Not that I actually got a chance to watch it, of course, because I was out there making a cup of tea. One's got to use these moments. Bit of a dry throat today, you see. So cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely delish. Lovely. So, anyway. Got a bit of wacky music on because I'm indebted to Tom Crow. Hang on, what's your surname, Tom? I've lost your surname. Crowhurst, is it? He's been sending. Yeah, it's on here, isn't it? Crowford. Sorry, Tom. I'm getting a bit confused now. He sent me this lovely DVD, CD-ROM, which is a mix of Wendy Mays and Tom Crawford's. Got it there, not Craw. Sorry. Selected Grooves. Fantastic. I've yet to take it out the cellophane. He also sent me another one, which I have here. Not quite so well presented, but that's fine. It's got some fantastic music on it. Thank you so much. It's more of this sort of stuff. So I shall be using some of that in the show in the forthcoming weeks. So that'll be exciting. Very thrilled about that. And the lovely Claire Leach. I don't know if Claire is there, but look, we have a lovely postcard from Saltdean. And she says here, Dear Richard, having a lovely time in Saltdean in the sunshine, which is all very nice. So that's all very good. And she also says, loving the weather from your friend Claire Leach. So there we go. Look at that. That's it. Marvellous. Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer. So if you would like to send me a postcard to go on the postcard wall, we're going to put them up there, you see. Well, all round, really. I could put them over here as well. All down here. Part of the set. Then all you got to do, email me, and I will send you my postal address, and then you can post that to me, which would be absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much for that. It's great. It's really nice when people, that we run with an idea. That's really exciting. Let's see what you guys are up there. Richard Suggett's noticed that, of course, I've been eating a lot of asparagus this week. That's true. And Richard Suggett, I should tell you that this evening, before the show, I cooked up the rest of that. Well, not the rest of it. I've got 2 sticks left, but a couple of sticks of that rhubarb. Hi, there new. Yeah, I'm pulling up the rhubarb. Yes, I'm pulling up the rhubarb. And I made, I just bunged in a bit of sugar, a bit of water, and I made a sort of rhubarb stew. Well, I suppose it's a sort of stew with custard. So it was like rhubarb and custard. It was delish. It was delish. Really, really nice. I put the other 2 sticks in the fridge, and I'm going to make that up. I got the other half of my tin of ambrosia custard. Bit of a plug, I know, but never mind. Beautiful custard to have tomorrow. So I shall have that tomorrow. It's very nice. I'm trying to keep slim, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to, because now I'm a single man. Got to somehow do something to get the ladies. But bit of custard and rhubarb will be very nice. And I should point out, we were having this debate the other day about whether your shirt should be out or whether it should be tucked in. And I did go out on a walk and I had it tucked out. And none of the ladies came rushing up to me and saying, "Oh, Richard, you're so handsome, you're so lovely, you've got your shirt tucked out." So today when I was out and about, I have to admit, I was with shirt tucked in. And I feel a bit more, I feel smarter and more comfortable with the shirt tucked in. I think the old idea with the shirt tucked out is really just to hide people's stomachs. Because if you tuck it in, you've got to be reasonably slim to get away with it, I think. Because if you've got a great big beer gut, then, that's you're trying to hide it. I think that's really what people are saying. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. So that was good. Can you show a couple of clips or stills of what? That was the question. Are you talking about when you? This is Mark Selwood. Are you talking about what from your film? Just a couple of. Yes, a little couple of clips. If you've got a film on the go, you could send in little teasers. Really, that's what we want. Little teasers. If you're making up these videos, little teasers to say in the group is the full video, and here is like a minute. Doesn't have to be very long. Much, much better to have it a nice short thing. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we've got one more here. Maggie Maggie Walters sent in a video. Now this is, I think this is, which one is this? Oh, here we go. Maggie sent in a video. It's quite long. It's about 11 minutes, so I can't play all of 11 minutes. But I'll just play the very opening, and I don't know actually if she's posted it. I don't know if Maggie, if you posted it to the group yet, but 11 minutes, I can't play that, and it's far too long. But here's a little moment. I'll just clip it off. So I can't. The weird thing is, I can't, when I play the videos, I can't actually hear them. They go out to you, but the software doesn't actually play it out loud to me. So I will turn it off after about a minute, just so you get a quick look at it and go, oh yes, another little Vobing report. But I can't actually hear it. So if it ends abruptly, this is just a teaser, okay? So and I forget actually, Maggie, now where you are. You're at that not Corfe Castle, but it's somewhere in Leinster, isn't it? So yeah, so I don't know why I'm looking down. I'm looking down there at my mixing desk actually, which is just here. But I don't need to do that because I can't affect the volume. So there we go. Anyway, so let's get the. Where's the video gone? I've lost it now. It's typical. Here we go. No, that's not it. No, yeah, where is it? That's it. Here we go. Here's a minute's worth of Maggie Walters out and about.
Hello, fellow explorers. It's a lovely sunny day and I'm at Croft Castle, which is near Yarpole in Herefordshire, and I'm going to take you on the ancient tree walk. It's so peaceful here.
I've been talking and the microphone's down. That's what I've been doing, isn't it?
Hello.
So I've been talking with the microphone down.
Yes, you have. Oopsies.
I do apologise. How long was that? Ever since the video, I suppose.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, that's. I'll rephrase everything. Thank you very much, Julia. Did you have a nice rollerblading session?
Yes, actually, I've just come back in for his, I've just come back in for his sleep and now I'm leaving again.
Well, it just goes to show I'm useless on my own. I need assistance.
You need a ring dowel.
Yes. Where are you when I need you, rollerblading? How dare you have the time off?
I'm having a blast.
Having a blast. Well, I better rehash what I just said.
Yeah, you better. I think you had. I think we all want to hear what you just said.
Yeah, it was very good. I had a brilliant idea as well.
Oh, what a shame. We'll have to hear it now.
Yes, righto. Anyway, nice to talk to you.
And you?
I'll talk to you some more, but down the camera.
Yes.
Yes. Cheerio.
See you later.
Bye. See, I turn my phone off on silent when I'm doing the show because obviously I don't want anyone to ring. But of course, actually, it's quite critical that if I've got the microphone down, well, that was embarrassing. That's live, you see, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Anyway, so I had this really good idea. I was telling you this really, really good idea, and now I'm going to tell you it all over again. But actually, I've fashioned it a bit more. So, firstly, what I wanted to say. Can you hear me? First, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mother? Mother, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mother? Firstly, I wanted to say, Maggie, your gimbal and stuff, really, really impressed with that. Very impressed. And I was impressed, and I was saying to Julia the other day, it was amazing that you guys have gone out and bought the equipment. Didn't expect that you've invested in the equipment and you're making these videos. So that's partly what I was saying. I was saying some such lovely things about you all. And I know Mark Selwood's gone and bought stuff, and I know Richard Suggett's gone and bought stuff, and that's absolutely amazing. But I was going to say, don't think that you have to go and buy the equipment to get the stuff on the show. The other thing I was saying is, I can't remember if you heard this now because it was making them short, making them as teasers. So when you're making a nice video like Maggie's just done, a lovely video, but maybe it's better if you make a little teaser. I play the teaser on the show to get people to go to the group and have a look at it. That's really what I'm trying to say. So that was that. Then somebody said I'd been eating a lot of I don't know if you've heard this either, that I'd been eating a lot of asparagus, and I said, oh, you know what? Oh yeah, we talked about the custard, didn't you? Oh yeah. So then Maggie said, I make my own custard. So I said, oh, that would be interesting. Could you give me the recipe for the custard? Because I'd like to give it a try. And then I had this idea. This terrific idea. So see what you think about this. If I was to do a cooking show in the kitchen, set the cameras up in the kitchen, we decide who it is, they have an idea for me to cook something, and they send me the recipe. I go out and buy it. Maybe Julia could do this with me. We go and buy the recipe, the ingredients, but we don't know what the dish is. It has to be something that can be cooked on just my little portable stove. So that would be these slight things. So whatever it is. So we buy the ingredients, but we don't know what we're cooking. And then on the show, whoever it is who knows what we're supposed to be cooking is either on Skype or you need a red light. Yeah, we need a red light to know when it's on. Then the person whose recipe it is on either on Skype giving us the instructions, or we just get somebody sends by email or whatever it is, or texts in or bungs in the message what the dish is and what we're supposed to do. So we don't know. We can't have tried it out before. We've bought the ingredients and we're sitting there with the ingredients, and then we've got to cook the thing, whatever it is. Anyway, it's just an idea, and that was see what you think. Try calling straight to answer phone. Oh yeah, there we go. So sorry about that. Feel a bit of an idiot. So the microphone is definitely up. Actually, it's because I'm looking at the if I look at the it's technical, I won't bother with it. Time is running out. So where are we? Oh, we're nearly at the end. Hang on, I just need to have a little slurp of this. Let's go and have a quick look, ladies and gentlemen, at what you've been posting in The Group, ladies and gentlemen. I would have realised eventually that I was talking nothing. I normally can work it out. It's alright, I'm doing that on purpose. So in the group, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let's have a look, see what people have been posting. This is Cushty Phil at Greatham Bridge. Now, I did a video at Greatham Bridge in the winter, and it was all covered in snow, which was a bit of a blow, but not to worry. Anyway, so that was that's down in Sussex, near Greatham, funnily enough. Erica Jordan has been back to Selborne, back to the gardens of the Gilbert White House, taking photographs of, I think, mock weddings. Maybe that is actually one of her dresses from the Real Green Natural Dress Company, or words to that effect. Absolutely brilliant, which is very nice. We will be going back, Julia and I, to get some more. The Gilbert White video has yet to be edited. It's in the backlog, but it will be coming soon. But also our visit to Selborne, we're going to in Hampshire. We're going to do that again because the weather was so crap. And actually, it was such a lovely village, and I was in a bit of a strop because the weather was so rubbish and I couldn't do it justice. And Julia said, let's go back and do it again. She's found out more information about the church, and we'll do a better job. So we're going to go back and refilm that, which would be very good. Here's a picture of me when I've just got up first thing in the morning at about 5:30, and that was photographed by Graham Whittington at Monkey World in Dorset. It's not really me. Because I've got too much hair on my nose, as you can see. One of his favourite pictures, he says, which is rather good. We had Eric on the show, who's a tortoise, yesterday, and people were telling us about their wonderful pets. Well, this is Ewok and Nibley, Matthew Holdsworth. He's taken a picture of his guinea pigs. They're in the garden. It's amazing that they're in the garden, and that they're not just running away. I'm absolutely surprised. I don't know that I would manage to let mine do that, but anyway, there we go. Jay Carter has been out at Ranmore, but I don't know where Ranmore is. Can anybody tell me where Ranmore is? I'd be very interested to know where that happens to be, but it's a very nice piece of countryside. Is it near Dorking or somewhere? Anyway, I don't know. Ranmore. Jonathan Bulls. Now, hang on, I'm going to get your name wrong. And you did phonetically spell it to me. Jonathan Bull. I lost it now. Bulziki has been at the old racetrack at Brooklands Museum. There's the racetrack, and the cars used to race around there. I have filmed, ladies and gentlemen, at Brooklands. That's in Surrey, by the way. And it's very nice. I filmed some Poirot episodes there, only as an extra. I was a policeman, but I filmed some Poirot episodes and some other, I think a Campion and something else was filmed there. It was a marvellous place for doing 1930s type stuff. Meanwhile, Linda Kane has been to Tangmere, to the church at Tangmere, which is near Chichester, taking photographs. Some lovely church there. And somewhere in there, I think, is the grave of Douglas Bader, if my memory serves me correctly. Paul Hine, because Douglas Bader was actually serving down there. He's the guy who jumped out an aeroplane with, and famously ended up in Colditz, didn't he? Anyway, Paul Hine has been at Odium Castle in Hampshire. That's a place I'd like to go. It's a lovely looking castle. Some photographs there in the group to go and have a look at. Do go and check that out. Richard Suggett's been a bit of a cheeky chappy doing a test, and he said, where am I? Where am I? But no sooner had he put the picture up than the lovely Julia immediately knew exactly where he was. He was in Stenning, because this little character here, who I forget the name of the character now, I did a video myself where I mentioned him, it's right opposite the church. Sarah Paul has been out taking photographs of trees, amongst other things, and she is in St Giles Churchyard in Cold Waltham. And there's this, it looks like an animal, doesn't it? It looks like an oil painting of an animal, but actually that is part, I think, of an old yew tree, which is rather lovely. Thank you for doing that. Simon Brown is in Everton, Everton cum Tetworth, which is in Bedfordshire. And this is a series of pictures. He's been out strolling about, inspired by my visit, no doubt. And finally, Tom Crawford, who sent me that lovely CD that you saw earlier, he has been to Buckton Towers. He's only put one picture in there, so I don't really know much about Buckton Towers or even where it is. I imagine it's somewhere in Bedfordshire, because I think he lives up that neck of the woods. But very Gothic-looking window, if I may say so. And if I mayn't, it's too late. I've already said it. So there we go. So that's all very good. Now, I said there was good news and bad news, didn't I? So I just want to do this before we get away. Bad news is, and I've noticed a couple of people have posted this. Let me just check that the microphone is up. I've got no more comments coming through, so I presume that everybody can still hear me. The comments aren't coming through anymore, but maybe you're all having a lie down after the last moment. So this was on the BBC website, and it's a bit of bad news, really. You may remember I've made a film at Binstead. The lovely Emma Tristram took me around Binstead Woods on Lovers Lane, around Binstead Park, and I did a thing about the way marker, and also I did a thing about the Binstead Church. Well, it does seem that the Highways of England has now revealed a £250 million Arundel bypass route, which is going to go through, or very close to, the ancient woodland there. And it seems that they've agreed to do it, which is a bit of a bugger, really. It says here, Highways England said that the A27 Arundel bypass would be constructed between Crossbush Junction and the new junction between Binstead Lane and Yapton Lane. It is quite south, a bit of Binstead, but it does cut through some of the lovely countryside, some of the beautiful countryside, and of course it's going to make a massive effect to wildlife and nature and everything. It said the £250 million scheme was a modified version of option 5A, which previously prompted protests from the residents. And I think it's going to prompt a few more protests, I would imagine. Campaigners said it would wreak an incredible trail of destruction. And I think that's probably true. I mean, it's a difficult thing because, you know, there are bottlenecks around Arundel. We all hate getting into those bottlenecks, and so something's got to be done. But couldn't they tunnel underneath, or is that even more expensive? I don't know. But tunnelling would certainly be preferable than to ploughing a motorway on stilts. It's going to be on stilts. It's raised up and going through. It's a horrendous idea. Emma Tristram from the Arundel Bypass Neighbourhood Committee said the fight against this extraordinarily damaging road screen. I'll read that again because I cocked that up. The fight against this extraordinarily damaging road scheme has only just begun. And so I'm hoping to go back with my video camera and see exactly where the route is, and maybe get Emma to walk with me the route where the proposed road is, so we can actually see what damage it is. Because for those of us who live in Sussex, you know, this is only the beginning of quite a lot of damage, because the A27 is being extended, and it's going to do something around Worthing. They've got to do something around Worthing, but where will they take it? And this is the price we're paying for modernisation. I thought people were supposed to have with the internet, but didn't need to get into their cars as much and travel about as much. They could have conferences online. I mean, I'm doing the show. You haven't all had to travel to see me. You're watching me through the internet. I've saved all those journeys. Imagine if you all had to get into your cars and traipse across on the A27 to come down and see me. So I'm there as an eco hero. So, sort of thing, if I don't mind blowing my own trumpet. But, if what we really need to do is to reduce the traffic on the roads, not forever increase the size of the roads, because you do that, as we know with the M25, we know it doesn't matter how many more lanes you put in or how wide you do it, it will fill up. And it just means that then in another 20 years, another 50 years, they'll be widening it and more traffic will come. It's ridiculous. And actually, this is a pointless thing, because in time we will have automated cars. Well, Google are doing their driverless cars. And if only we could wait a little bit longer, if we could just wait a little bit longer, computers will operate cars. We won't need the human part of it. And that way it can be a lot more streamlined. You won't get bottlenecks. If you have an algorithm that's now controlling the flow of cars, it can slow you down before you get to the bottleneck and get the traffic through the bottleneck. So you don't actually need this road. You don't need to break up the environment because technology can solve it. We just need to be patient. So I think Emma and her team need to do whatever they can. A bit of gerrymandering is required to prevent them from building this thing and get the driverless cars in that effectively will speed up and get rid of all the bottlenecks. So you don't need to get rid of the initial, you don't need to add to the infrastructure, but will utilize the infrastructure a lot more beneficially. That's my own personal view. You may have a different view, and if you do, I would like to hear from it. Do let me know. Julia Hartley says she wants to walk the route too. So we will do that. We will get in touch with Emma. I will send her an email and we will say we want to come back and see where this route is going and what is likely to be destroyed and find out what ideas they've got and what we can do to stop it from happening, because I don't think we need to build it. I think technology can solve that problem. It may take 10 years, but by the time they get it built, it'll probably be 10 years and you would have done the damage forever. That's the thing. The damage will be done forever. So we can't have that. It's Friday. It means that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for this week. I'll be back again on Monday. There'll be more. There's a couple more Glastonbury videos, and then there's some other videos. I think Gilbert White video will be coming. My visit to, where did I go? The RSPB up in Cambridgeshire and Bedfordshire. Those videos with Simon Brown, Sharon Brown, they're coming. The videos that we've been doing this week will be coming. Lots of exciting stuff is on its way. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So that'd be good. Nigel Sandler says the sad fact is that unpopular road schemes are soon forgotten about within a few years of their completion. Yeah, they're forgotten because what can you do? The damage is done. The advantages always seem to outweigh the disadvantages. Yes, that's true, but the damage is done, isn't it? The damage is done. And they never go away unless you can get a Dr. Richard Beeching of the roads to fall an axe. So that doesn't happen with roads, does it? You might do it on the railways back in the 1960s, but it doesn't happen with roads. Nobody says, oh, we're not going to have this road anymore, let it grow back. But the damage is done. Once they've done it, you can't fight it once it's been done. Nobody is going to pull up a motorway that was unwanted. If it's in use, nobody's going to do that. So you have to fight it before it happens. Once it's completed, it's a pointless, because there's other campaigns to be fighting. So Jennifer Stewart says, I thought more people took trains in England. Well, if the trains were reliable and cheap, maybe they would. But unfortunately, they're not reliable and they're not cheap. And the audacity, here's a thing, Jennifer. I don't know whether this happens in America, but here's something that I find absolutely abhorrent, is that at the end of every year, and just before the new year starts, we're all told how the train tickets are going up in price. Train tickets, they're going up. It's going to be more expensive to travel on trains. And when asked, the company always says, oh, well, we're going to improve the infrastructure. And I think, no, improve the infrastructure first and then charge us more. Improve it first. Don't charge us more to travel on the crappy old trains that aren't improved, because that's like going to a restaurant and saying, oh, we're going to charge you expensive meals, but in the meantime, we're just going to give you some crappy old meals that aren't cooked properly. But if you give us more money, yeah, next year you'll have some lovely meals, which you'll still be paying the expensive rate for. So that doesn't work, does it? It's a stupid idea. Oh, I should run for Parliament. I should run for Prime Minister, I should. I'll give them a run for their money. Blimey. Anyway, so there we go. Have a good weekend. Hope you have a lovely time. Don't get too stressed out by the end of this show. It's been great. Thank you for the postcard. I'm just checking back. I've done everything I'm supposed to have done. I was going to do a film tip, but I'll save that for next week. I was going to tell you about some books that I've got, but that doesn't matter. I've got a nice cone today. I was given this cone from... This came from Thacum. It came off a Scots pine. Very interesting cone. And I got a smaller cone. Don't know where that came off. Right, that came off from a different tree. I want to collect cones so that I can identify the cones and the trees from it. Part of the tree identification. But don't let that worry you. So, ladies and gentlemen... When you hear this music, it means I have to go, ladies and gentlemen. I have to go. Thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful Friday. Be back next week. Hopefully we will have Dumpman in the show. The lovely Julia may well make another appearance, which I certainly hope so. We've got some fantastic videos, so do join us next week. It's going to be great. Thank you to all the new patrons. Don't forget you can support the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi and the project that we're doing forwards by going to thebaldexplorer.com/support and send something. But in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday. Take care, one and all. It's been absolutely a joy to see you all, of course. And thank you for watching. Goodbye. Goodbye.